now to Mpumalanga and a care home for disabled patients called Sunfield. Now stay with me because there's quite a big story here. 36 of the patients receive a subsidy from the Department of Social Development. In May last year, this home wrote to the provincial department asking for an increase because they hadn't had one in 14 years. In July this year, Sunfield finally got an audience with the department. They told them they'd look into an increase. According to Sunfield, last week, the Department of Social Development called to say all the subsidised patients were going to be moved out of the home. However, in a statement the department has released this evening, they've denied all of this. They say subsidies are at the centre of the argument and the removal of patients would be as a last resort. Some of the residents, bear in mind, have lived at Sunfield for 3 decades. Moving those residents would be emotionally traumatic. And of course, I say this with certainty because it's a lesson learned in 2016 here in Gauteng with the Life Esidimeni tragedy. Over 1,500 mentally disabled patients were moved very quickly to alternative homes, many of which were simply not qualified to offer proper specialised care. And 141 patients died after being moved. So I'm joined now by Brenda Gous, manager of Sunfield Fortuna in Balfour in Mpumalanga. Thank you so much for joining us. So reading through the very extensive media release that your home has released, it just brought to mind real fears along the lines of Esidimeni. But we're seeing this evening the Department of Social Development is saying a couple of things, and I'd like your response. First of all, they say they have not made a decision to move any of these subsidised patients out of your care. They say that Sunfield refused to sign an agreement with the same amount, which is 1,984 rand per patient per month. And they say that you are the ones who've basically caused this crisis. Talk to me, give me a response to what the department is saying this evening, please.
Okay, this is totally not true, because I have been in a meeting with Social Development last week on our premises where they have told us, myself and the social worker, that the residents, they had instructions from the head office that the residents must be removed, the last residents must be off Sunfield premises on the 30th of September.
All right, so either there's a serious miscommunication between you and the department, or within the department there's a really serious miscommunication. So you're saying that is absolutely not true. This issue about the refusal...
And also the fact that our board of directors didn't sign, it's not true at all.
Okay.
They didn't want to sign, no, they merely asked for an increase.
Okay, exactly. So talk to me about whether you have proof that they told you that they want these 36 patients to be moved by September. Do you have that in writing? Do you have proof that you can use to refute their narrative now?
Well, myself and the social worker worked with them through the files where there is a column where they speculate, well, where they were saying what resident's going to move, where the resident going to move to. They're either going to place them in another home, they're going to put them back in society, or they are going to send them to family that most of them don't have, or the families are totally not in a position to look after them.
What do you think's going on here? Do you think you're being punished because you asked for an increase, which would have been the first one in 14 years, you say?
I wouldn't call it punish. I don't know what's happening here at all. We are merely asking so that we can look after our residents. We want them to stay in this home, and we are merely asking for an increase. I do not know what their modus operandi is for this, and also it's not fair because the other homes within 50-kilometre radius is receiving more than double or much more than us.
And so what you're saying to me is that the subsidies are not set, that the 1,984, I presume that's monthly per patient, that is received for 36 out of your sort of 60-plus residents, is actually lower than other areas?
Yes, it's much lower. As far as I know, we are receiving the lowest, and also the other homes have been receiving yearly increases, which we have not done.
So they're saying that you refused to sign for another 3 years on the same amount. And you're saying that was never an issue. Talk to me about that.
No, we had a meeting with the board of directors and our legal representatives asking for the increase, but they were going to look into it and then come back to us. And the next moment, we had no communication from them at all. And the next moment, they just arrived on the premises asking for the files so that they can see where they can relocate the residents to.
So am I right that if they went ahead with this relocation, and the official word from the department is they are saying they've never said that, it would absolutely be a last resort, interestingly not off the table. Talk to me about whether you've been given any idea of where these residents would go and what kind of impact it might have on them to be moved.
Well, as I said before, they are looking at relocating them into society. And then they are thinking of relocating them to other homes, as well as relocating them to their families, which haven't seen them maybe in 20 years. Most of them are in institutions and definitely not in a position to look after them.
How much does it actually cost to look after a patient like this? It's not just about food and lodging, is it? It's also about proper medical care. Some of them need very specialised and round-the-clock attention. So you're getting 1,984 for each patient a month, which is very little. How much does it actually cost the home to look after those patients?
It's about 7,000 Rand a month. And yes, the medical, we do receive some from the government, but there's a lot of medication that's not in stock where we have to purchase it ourselves. And also we have to pay for doctors if we do not get sufficient services from the local clinics. So it's really looking after every basic need of them.
What is your next move now? The department is refuting what you're saying. And you're saying you've actually had those meetings where they said we're absolutely moving these people. What are you going to do now? What is the next step for you?
Well, I'm going to leave that to my board of directors, but I'm sure that we are very, very happy to hear that they're not moving our residents, if that would be the case, because that was our biggest fear, turning this into a life Esidimeni. So I cannot talk on behalf of what they will do. We are waiting actually for them to communicate with us because they haven't been doing so, apart from coming to the premises, looking through the residents' files.
If it came to it, would you accept the same rate that you've had for 14 years if you were forced to?
This is totally not possible because our board of directors went into this, and this can actually cause Sunfield's insolvency. Sunfield will definitely not last much longer, because if it wasn't for our local communities and farmers that assist us with a lot of donations, we would never have made it in any case so far.
As you explained to us already, it takes 7,000 Rand as a minimum to look after one patient. Thank you so much for talking to us this evening, Brenda, and I really hope that you get a resolution, communication and a proper plan, because it certainly sounds like you're looking after a lot of vulnerable people. Thank you so much. That's Brenda Gous, manager of Sunfield Fortuna. She says they've been threatened that the people that are getting a subsidy currently from government, they're merely asking for an increase. They're saying the Department of Social Development threatened to take those people away. And the Department of Social Development saying, no, that's not the case. And it would absolutely be their last resort, that they don't have more money. But Brenda is also saying that other patients at other homes are receiving more money. So this certainly is something we need to keep looking into. We have to have learnt the lessons from life for Esidimeni.